What's going on? And welcome to a special edition of This Is Not Reality. Usually I put out audio content, but for this occasion, I thought that it was only right that I have um, some video content to go with the substance of today's interview. I'm joined by Ernst Jean-Jacques, aka Shimmy, who is a Boston activist and the founder of the Freedom Fighters Coalition of 2020. Is that the full name of the organization?
Um, it's just Freedom Fighters Coalition. The 2020 was just tagged on social media because that's when Noah uh started it. Uh,
Mm.
Noah is one of the other founders, and then is Ari, and then myself. There's three of us.
Okay, so you're one of the co-founders of the Freedom Fighters Coalition, started in 2020, but clearly has gone on much longer than that. And I want to start with uh, the language that you've been using on social media to talk about the incident um,
Mm-hmm.
that has brought us here today.
Mm-hmm.
At a counter protest of a Trump rally in Swampscott, Massachusetts, on Saturday, December 12th, prominent Boston activist, founder of the Freedom Fighters Coalition of 2020, Ernst Jean-Jacques, aka Shimmy, was wrongfully arrested for an assault that didn't happen. As Shimmy danced to music playing through a speaker, an elderly woman approached him from behind and poured a bottle of water on his face. Shimmy's natural reaction to take the water bottle out of her hand was called a punch to the face. Not only was this entire interaction caught on video, the aggressor was also filmed admitting to a police officer that she instigated the altercation unprovoked because his dancing was making her mad. The aggressor is not facing repercussions despite the video evidence and admission of guilt to to the Swampscott officer. Since the arrest, Shimmy has received threats on social media and has been suspended from work without pay for the duration of the court proceedings. This is a civil rights violation, a constitutional violation, and obviously racially charged. Per Shimmy's legal representation's request, please make this case go as public as possible. And that is what brought me to this conversation. Because as soon as I saw all of the posts, I was like, I need to do whatever I can to make this go as public as possible. Because we see these stories all the time where a young Black man is accused of doing something that he did not. And because of the biases in this country, they're automatically assumed guilty.
Mm-hmm.
And then their lives are completely changed and ruined because of it. And not only have I seen this in the news, now this is someone that's in my immediate network who is facing this. And I wanted to start with your comment and the language that you guys have been using, particularly because not everyone has been using such kind language. Let's just put it that way. They haven't
Oh
been
yeah.
describing this incident necessarily how it went down. There's a lot of interpretation and bias put into it.
Mm-hmm.
I know that that's frustrated you, and you've expressed that as well on social media. So
Mm-hmm.
I guess let me just take it back to the events of that day. What happened in your perspective, or at least um, the events after that interaction with the arrest and all?
Well, shout outs. Well, first, thank you for having me and wanting to speak about this.
Yeah.
Shout outs to social media and like phones with cameras because
Yeah.
if if the day if this incident was not caught on camera, I don't know if me and you are having a conversation right now.
Hmm.
But basically on that day, December 12th, I went up to Swampscott, which I never went to. I never been to Swampscott before. That was the first time I'd ever been there. It's
Got,
next to Lynn. It's next to Lynn. I
yeah.
didn't know that. Um, the governor also lives in Swampscott. I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
But the channel 7, they after I got arrested, they put my mugshot up on their in their newspaper on their website saying that I was arrested for assaulting an 80-year-old woman at an anti governor Baker rally. And I'm just like, see, this is what I'm talking about. Like anti governor rally, but whatever. I'll get to that. So I'm in Swampscott, and it's a Donald Trump rally, and this Donald Trump rally has been going on in this town every week. At that point, I think it was like 30 something weeks consecutively.
Like the whole year, pretty much.
Yeah, like basically throughout the entire pandemic. And like I had heard crazy stuff. Like I had seen a dude went up there and he was wearing blackface, and somebody was flying a Confederate flag and like all kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I went there, and when I go to these rallies, these Donald Trump rallies, and I go to counter, I'm not going there to have a conversation with you to try to change your mind,
Mm-hmm.
because I already know your mind is made up. The things that these people say that come out of their mouth, it's like, if you don't believe in exactly what they believe in, they don't want to talk to you. If you don't look how they look, they don't want to talk to you. If you don't believe how they believe, they don't want to talk to you. And they're going to say all of the stereotypical things that they could say to you or I or anybody else who opposes them. So I already know when I go there, I already know I'm going to hear all of these things. If you don't like it, get out of the country. Talk about Muslim bans and talk
I'm sure you have a
about
whole list. Like it's
talk about gay and trans and just talk about everything. And it's just like, oh, these people are nuts.
Mhm.
So on this particular day, when I get to Swampscott, um, there's a good amount of like counter protesters who are like way more rambunctious than me at this moment. I'm not even the most active person there. So I probably wasn't even at the rally for like a whole hour. It was probably less than 45 minutes. I think I was there before I got arrested. So what happened was, and again, all of this is caught on camera. So it's not like what I'm telling you right now is my opinion of what happened. What I'm telling you right now is exactly what happens. And one of the two videos that we have, one of the videos is sourced from the one of the people who said I punched the lady.
Ah, wow.
In this person's video is the video that shows the water being thrown in my face.
Hmm.
And then I have a video that's caught on the opposite side of the fence from somebody else where you can see everything that's happening.
Yes.
So basically what happens is I'm walking around this rally and I see a group of old women. They're playing on a speaker that song, It's Raining Men.
Mm.
Hallelujah, it's raining men, right? So they're playing the song and I'm just dancing because I'm like, yo, I'm not going to talk to them. And they're just saying crazy things to me. And I'm just dancing because I know it's going to bother them.
Yeah.
This lady, again, all of this is caught on camera. This lady is seen walking by the camera. She looks back at me. She walks over to a bottle of water, picks up the bottle of water, walks back over and throws the bottle of water in my face. Like, huh? So I swatted the bottle out of her hands.
Yes.
And that's when immediately everyone is like, I punched her in the face. And the officer immediately is asking me, like, what's going on? I'm like, yo, did y'all not just see that lady throw water in my face? And he's like, well, tell me what happened. And as I'm telling him what happened, he's like, oh, the cop is telling me to shut the fuck up and all this. And I'm like, yo, how are you telling me to tell you what happened? And as I'm telling you what happened, you're telling me to shut the F up. All this stuff. So they're talking to me. And at this point, I guess this is when this is what they would call the investigation.
Mm.
This is when they pulled me over from the crowd and they're talking to me. And I'm talking to the two officers, the one that's telling me to shut the F up and the one that's standing with him. And I have my friends that are with me. They're like, no, he didn't do it. I have these older white women from Swampscott who are there. Listen, like, no, he didn't do it. I saw what happened. He didn't do it. I have all these people like writing for me or whatever. And as they're going back and forth, I see a police officer in the distance and he's like running around. He's running around. And I'm just like, yo, like, why is he running?
Mm.
And then I got this feeling in the pit of my stomach. And I just knew right then and there. And he came over and they were like, yeah, right now you're being arrested for assault and battery on an elderly woman or whatever. I got brought in. Um, I went to Swampscott PD. I got processed or whatever. Um, and then I got bailed out. I was in and out in like a few hours.
Okay.
Now this is where the story starts to get a little weird. When I get out, someone sends me a video of the lady who allegedly I punched on video. She's telling a police officer who was there She's telling a police officer, like, yeah, I threw water at him because he was dancing. He made me mad. I don't want to lie. That's the video that got looped in on that TikTok thing or whatever. Then I also see
It
a
went to
video,
TikTok?
huh?
It went to TikTok?
Oh yeah, it blew up on TikTok.
Wow.
Um, then I see another video which is also in the TikTok video. This same old lady, after I was arrested, you can see her hitting some younger white dude in the face with like a little flag
Mm.
or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
It,
seen.
so so this all happens. So I have to get a lawyer. I end up getting a lawyer, and I go to court on that Monday, and they're trying to hold me like for a dangerousness hearing, and
Mm.
all of this stuff is in that press release that I sent you.
Yeah.
So when we're done with all of this, you can read it, and then everything I'm saying, the bits and pieces of what I'm saying will make sense. But basically, um, the police officers, the women who got the police officers' attention, all lied and said that I did one thing, but I have video and pictures
Mhm.
proving and showing otherwise,
Mhm.
showing that this lady threw water in my face,
Mhm.
and allegedly I cocked my fist back, and with full force I punched the lady
Yeah.
in the face. Then
Yeah.
another report was I punched her in the chest. But I have video and still photos and shout outs to Bay State Banner. I think that was Bay State Banner who posted the photo. But basically, you can see me doing exactly what I said I was doing. I reached out to try to get the bottle out of her hand after she threw water in my face during a pandemic.
Yeah.
So all of this happens. I end up putting up the press release, and like it just goes like crazy. I think it was shared like almost 3,000 times or maybe a little bit over that. And since then, like there were people from the town of Swampscott that heard about the story, and they were very upset, and they started writing petitions on my behalf.
Yeah.
And all of these local social action groups in towns outside of Boston started hearing about my story, and they started writing to the police. So basically, maybe like a month ago, yeah, because this is about 2 months in. So about a month ago, that's when they launched an internal investigation
Yeah. Mhm.
into my arrest, saying that after review of new evidence, there's no new evidence, but
Mhm.
after review of new evidence, they feel like they could have went about the matter in a different way, essentially.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, that's cool and all, but like this is what I've been saying from jump, from day one. Um, so yeah, there's hasn't been any real updates.
Yeah.
Like my court date, my pretrial hearing is coming up on February the 24th.
Yeah.
But it's like, yo, these charges could be dropped right now.
Yeah. Shouldn't have even
I
been.
shouldn't have been arrested
Right.
to begin with. And since then, like you stated, I've been suspended from my job without pay.
Mhm.
And it's like I get all of I get technicalities, and I understand like business is business and things have to be done. But at the end of the day, like I don't deserve to be arrested to begin with.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
you brought it up, social media, like I don't even know how many people I've blocked.
Mm.
And it's not even what they're saying is upsetting me, it's just annoying. Like every single day, it's just somebody saying something to me
Yeah.
about this.
And speaking of people you blocked, I don't mean to bring this up necessarily, but I want to first go back and just commend your use of social media because in the absence of the truth on their behalf or their denial of the truth, you got that evidence right there to back it up. Like I've seen these videos in slow motion like several times, clips, close-ups, you can't deny it. But it's just wild that even with all that proof, you still are going through,
But
this.
what's messed up before you go into your next
Yeah.
thing, what's
Mhm.
messed up is that there are so many people that are going through worse situations than me, and they don't have any of this like proof, like
Mhm.
video evidence, and they're also innocent.
Yeah.
And they also don't have a lawyer who's gonna look out for them like I do, and a
Yeah. Your
support system.
team. Ugh.
So it's like, yo, I'm very lucky, and it's like in the grand scheme of things could be a lot worse. But it's like, yo, stuff is really messed up right now.
Yeah. And what I was going to say, speaking about people that you blocked and the attention that this case has garnered, I did see a bit of an interaction with yourself and Sean King, and I noticed that you're blocked.
He's canceled, bro. He's canceled.
Is it?
Sean King is
And I did
canceled.
see the back and forth as well. And I should have even like at least read it over before. But my whole gist of the thing is that he was too busy to get to your DMs, and so even in that moment in the back and forth, there wasn't really a next step. No offer to really like, okay, now that you have my attention, how can I help you? Uh, have you guys talked since then?
No, it's because I'm blocked. And
Oh,
if you
you're
ask
blocked.
me, if you ask me my personal opinion, and this is what's been said to me prior to my even interaction with him, people have said to me that Sean King and other like major activists that I'm not even gonna throw out names because like unless you've done something to me personally, I'm not gonna speak on you. But
Mhm,
it's like there are other people that like you and I have and other people have heard of. But
mhm,
like I've heard that there's these guys or activists or people, they won't take on your struggle
mm,
unless it will give them some kind of notoriety or they can make some money off of it.
mm,
The only reason why I feel some type of way about Sean King, it's like, yo, if you if you're too busy, you just say you're too busy. You
yeah,
don't give me this long explanation about like how you allegedly had just had back surgery and like you're working all these jobs and you've got all these kids and then you're asking me details about my story. You're asking me to send you all of this stuff. You're
totally.
asking me to do this, you're asking me to do that. And then I do it and then I ask you like, do you need anything else? You don't respond. And then the next time I come back to check, I see I'm blocked.
And that's what I don't understand. I think the whole way that he went about it was weird. And it's just disheartening because you see his name next to a lot of these very high profile cases. And so you have this like bit of hope, right? But I know that
Yeah.
has been in controversy before as well. So let's just leave that there, right?
But one thing I have learned recently, and you kind of brought it up,
Yeah.
is the media is not for, I mean, I'm not going to speak on your life, but like media is not for people like I. And I was going to say people on media is not for people like you and I.
Mm-hmm.
But media is not. And the reason why I can say that is all summer, Amber, all summer, I'm going to this Back the Blue rally in this town, and I'm leading this protest, and like the media is on me. During the summer, I was probably on the news at least once a week.
I mean, I saw your image everywhere, and that's why it's wild to me to know that you were in such a positive light. Like we know you were doing the work, the good work,
Okay,
and to see
but
this.
now exactly. So then fast forward to December, and now I need the media. I need your help. Nobody is picking up. Nobody's picking up the story, and the only people that are picking up the story are running the story in the craziest light. And
Yeah.
I brought it up, Channel 7, talking about I was arrested for assaulting an 80-year-old at an anti-governor rally, and they put up my mugshot, and they put up nothing. They put up nothing else.
Yeah. But
No
that's when.
videos,
Yeah.
no reason why, what led to me, my incident, nothing.
Isn't it
Just
wild
a picture.
though? Independent media comes through and we really want to come in those intimate moments. Like that's when we care. That's when we want the story. But then the bigger brands are like, ooh, too touchy. It's too real. Like that's in a real resident's life. Like it's a real citizen. But when it's a photo moment, I understand why they're like, oh, we can do that. Not justifiable, but
So the media, if you ask me, they're all canceled. And
um,
moving forward, because I assume that like I'm gonna run into them again at actions, and it's like, can we talk to you for a moment? No, you can't talk to me for a moment. I don't want to talk to you right now. You're not gonna use me right now and to push whatever narrative you're trying to push about the fake support that you give to people that are speaking out against struggle. No, 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 no. You're not going to use me for that. Go find somebody else
no.
who's clueless and doesn't have an idea of what you're really trying to do.
Yeah.
I've seen it. When I needed your help, when I needed you to shine a light on an injustice, the same injustices a few months ago you said you wanted to shine a light on, you let me down. I can't support that anymore. So, but what I can say is like you said, smaller independent media platforms, just regular civilians like myself who are just like, yo, I saw these videos. I know the people that were at these rallies, and I've been around you, and I know you're not that type of person. I'm
Yeah.
gonna do some research. And they just start digging up things, do. And that's why you've started to see videos of these
Yeah.
same people that were accusing me of things. You're seeing them do this, exhibit the same behavior to other people.
Mhm.
And when they're doing it to other people, it's no problem. But allegedly, I do something and it's a big problem. And then on top of it, what you're alleging me to do is false.
Yeah.
And I have video proof, and I'm still going through the court
Real.
proceedings for whatever reason.
And it takes me back to the whole reason why you were even at that rally in the first place, right? It was a Trump rally. And to think about what Trump has done to this country and how he's just divided this country, not that he did it
Mm-hmm.
alone, but he was this figurehead, he was this symbol, and he helped usher in a different period in my life, in my adulthood. And I saw you there every month, every week throughout the whole shutdown, representing and being present in that fight, that very visual, very real fight of just being at the protest and showing up. And I value you for that. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just wild to me again that you're in this predicament. um but it just reminds me that, like, already with the Trump presidency, I was feeling like, okay, federal law, federal change seems like something that I'm not as hopeful for, and so I'm turning into community. I'm doing more community building, community organizing, education,
That's it.
independent media, small grassroots movements, and that's where I'm putting my energy, and that's why I prioritize this even more. But then that your story just comes full circle, like
So
us.
so uh, so a big thing I got during the summertime is like, yo, why are you going to all of these small ass towns? And like,
Oh, we needed you
why
there.
are you using your energy? And like, I'm getting messages like, oh, every week you're arguing with like some old white person. Like, why don't you go do something else? And like, my thing is, it's like, yo, like when you look at these videos, and I'm saying this to the people that are addressing me, I'm like, when you watch these videos, what kind of thought process are you coming in with when you watch these videos? Because the fact that the only thing you take away is allegedly me arguing with a white person, and you're not taking away anything that I'm saying or anything that's going on behind me. Yo,
Sure.
if people don't go to these small towns where there's probably a handful of black people who don't feel comfortable speaking up against the people that live in their town, if you don't go and tell these people that this behavior is not okay, they're going to keep displaying this behavior. And
Yeah.
then one day these people are going to get brave enough, and they're going to do something that negatively affects your family. And
Yeah.
then that's when you're going to start asking questions.
Yeah.
But I don't want to wait that long.
And I don't feel even comfortable outside of Boston, and that tells you a lot. Like, why don't I feel comfortable outside of Boston or in Western Mass? Like, there are communities out here that don't get confronted. They're not diverse, and we do need someone to go and confront them, because what I will say is that they also have the right to protest in these ways.
They do. They absolutely do.
And
They
like you said, there are
absolutely
people
do.
doing blackface at these protests, and it's like they don't have the right to necessarily do it like that, but they take advantage and they take that leeway. And we do need someone fighting that fight. And so, screw the haters as far as that is concerned. But I can imagine that's why you started or helped co-found the Freedom Fighters Coalition as well, to be present at these rallies. Is part of the ways that you do that, or do you show up as an individual, or is it on behalf of?
Yo, so I'm not gonna lie, when I go to those Donald Trump rallies or to like counter protest, for the most part, I go as an individual because I don't want how I'm acting in the moment. I don't want that to be a representation of an
Okay.
entire group,
Yeah.
because like there are some moments where like I lose my control, and like somebody will say something to me, and normally I won't say anything back, but like if I'm having a bad day, best believe I'm gonna say something
You're gonna
back.
take advantage of your freedom of speech.
Yeah,
You're gonna say,
yeah. So, but I don't want somebody who's like supports like the group. I don't want them to get offended by something that I say and now take their support away from the group.
yeah,
Because one thing I've said and I've heard other people say is like, yo, the movement right now, it's a very like it's very inclusive. You know, like we're worried about like climate change, and we're worried about like LGBTQ rights, and we're worried about like immigration, and we're worried about housing and unemployment, and we're worried about mental health crises, and we're worried about like opioid crisis and all this stuff. But it's like at the end of the day, the Black experience is exclusive. Like when I leave these big rallies with all of these people and all of these agendas, like going home, I still got to deal with being Black. So when I go to these Donald Trump things, I'm going simply to let these people know that I don't agree with the hateful nonsense that they're spewing. And I'm just here while you're spewing this hatred, I'm just here to make you uncomfortable. And
Right.
that's it. I'm not here to threaten you. I'm not here to fight. You're just going to say whatever you want to say, and I'm going to say whatever I'm going to say. And hopefully you'll get tired of me and you'll just stop coming out.
Yeah. That's all
And
they
that's
need,
it.
that resistance a little bit, like just a little resistance will stop a whole lot of people. And so I guess that brings me to my next question then. What exactly is the mission of the Freedom Fighters Coalition, and how do you still do that work right now? Or are you focused on, this case at this point?
Oh, see, I'm glad you asked that. So look, I'm not going to lie.
Mhm.
The day I got the first few days I got booked, or like the first few days after I got booked, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't want to do this like
Work, right?
stuff anymore.
Mhm.
Cause I'm like, yo, like this, like, see where this leads me. But then I'm like, that's very selfish. And then I watched a documentary on John Lewis and saw that he got arrested like 40 something times,
Yes,
five times
that.
five times while he was in Congress. So I'm like, yo, this is really nothing. And the way I see it is, I started a line of work, so now I need to see it through. As far as the goal with the Freedom Fighters, our goal is just to get as many people together on a united front to battle forms of oppression and social injustice.
Mhm.
Right now, because we live in Boston and because it's very cold in the winter, we can't protest every single day like we did in the summertime. But
Yeah.
right now we're focused on mutual aid, giving back to the community fridges, helping unhoused folk get clothing, get blankets, get food. During the holiday, we did toy drives for families in need,
Mhm.
preferably single moms who
Mhm.
didn't have access to funds. Um, Before that, we were doing winter coat drives, just giving winter coats to anybody who needed, whether you're unhoused or you do have a home and you just don't have enough money to get a coat. And all of this stuff is funded by the public.
Mhm.
All of the donations are by the public. All of this stuff is like from the people for the people. And
Yeah.
our goal is just to show people that you don't need the government to get by if you're struggling. All you need is some resources and
Yes.
some assistance.
The people.
That's it.
Yes.
And one thing I can say is definitely shout outs to the people, because I got suspended from my job on December 16th.
Yeah.
It's been 2 months, but the day I told people I got suspended from my job, they raised $10,000.
Yes, I noticed. Oh my God. Congrats on being able to, not even congrats, but I'm so grateful that the community showed out like that and that they were able to give you that security,
Yeah,
some extent.
but I'm hoping that whoever is supposed to do their job does their job and these charges get dropped soon,
That's
or I'm
that's
gonna have to take up another GoFundMe
Yeah, I know.
because
And that's why I'm here and that's why I'm doing this. And so I want to wrap up in just a little bit because, I
yeah.
don't want to take too much of your time. I know you are a busy man, but I just wanted to touch on the way that I first learned about you or got to know about you was really through media and through the
Hmm.
creative scene in Boston. And so the fact that you are this, I think, figure in both the creative scene and both just in the city as a whole, um, is important, and I don't want to lose sight of that. So like that's important. Also, you're in a frat and I don't know the name of it, but like I know that you rap it all the time. What is it? Shout
Hmm.
real quick.
Kappa. Oh, sorry. Kappa Alpha Psi
Hey.
Fraternity Incorporated, the most
All right.
noble fraternity in the whole wide world.
Yes, and is that when they say like kappas? Is that like the kappas?
That's us, or more affectionately known as the Noops. That's
Oh,
us.
okay, cool.
But Amber, I'm so glad you brought up the media thing,
Mhm.
because there's been a lot of people that they just think like I popped up out of nowhere, and that like I started doing all this stuff for the clout. But like, I don't know if you remember the name of the radio show that I brought you on,
Yeah,
but it was,
CBTC radio.
and CTTC stands for contribute to the culture.
Mhm.
So I've been doing this give back thing.
Yeah.
It's just now that in 2020, in the middle of a pandemic, nobody's got nothing to do except go to work if you've got a job,
Yeah.
or go home if you've got a home, and then or
Mhm.
go protest if you decide to do that. So like, I was just thrown in the spotlight, and now all these people like are realizing who I am, or like finding out who I am, and they're just like, oh, he just started doing this 2 months ago, 6 months ago, 8 months ago. He's just doing it for clout. It's
Yeah.
like, yo, I I didn't ask to get arrested. I didn't ask to get harassed by police officers and racists. I didn't ask for none of this. But this is what I signed myself up for. I decided to speak out against what's things that aren't right, and this is what comes from it.
Yes. And hearing you speak about that was such a spiritual moment for me, to just like the moment that you realize like this is the work that I've done and this is the lane that I've committed myself to, and looking at the people that came before you, and even seeing your mugshot was like a chilling experience, because we've seen how people have used those images in the past. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like you're remembering all the figures, and it's just a really wild experience to see someone that I know personally going through it. And so I couldn't let them paint you that way, and I will not, and I'll support in any way that I can. And I know that you also are asking for support on the 24th. Are people able to go and protest outside of the courthouse, and how else can they support?
Yo, so all right, so per my per the legal team's advice,
Mm.
um they have their suggestion that everybody attends via Zoom.
Okay.
Um,
Oh yeah, I saw that request to Zoom. Yeah.
however, there are, and it's funny how life works. But the same group of people that put together the protest that I counted, that I got arrested at,
Hmm.
they're they're setting up a protest on the 24th outside of the courthouse. I don't know if they are aware yet that I'm doing it via Zoom, so I don't know if they're expecting to see me for a quick second. But like, there are people that are protesting outside of the courthouse in
Protesting
hopes that
you?
protesting me, in hopes that my charges will stick, and that they'll continue to keep this bogus charge against me.
Oh no. So we showing out. All right.
So this is what I tell people. I'm really convinced that this was just a ploy. This was just a ploy to get me to stop.
Hmm.
Like, if we mess him up legally and financially, he's gonna crumble. When they first came at me, they're probably like, "Oh, he's dumb. He don't got no support system. He's not gonna be able to find a lawyer. He's not gonna be able to get people to help him." But like, yo, they picked the wrong one. So
Yeah.
it's like, I'm gonna see all of this through. They were trying to get me to plead to something, and I said absolutely not. Shout out to my lawyer for suggesting that I not plead to anything, because it's like, no, that's bogus. I'm not going to plead to something that I didn't do,
Um,
and I have all of this evidence, and that's just it. And in the meantime, I'm going to keep doing this mutual aid and keep giving back to the community. We're protesting for George Floyd next month because his trial starts. I know, like, all the hype, all the Black Lives Matter, all that hype went away, but like, he's still going to trial, and I hope we in his family gets justice. I'm not gonna lie, I don't see him getting justice,
mhm.
but I hope and pray that it happens. And if it doesn't happen, then the people will be outside again, because
Yes.
I understand, like, people need to realize that, like, yeah, this is a George Floyd, or a Sandra Bland, or Tamir, or any of these individuals, Eric Garner. I get it. They don't happen like these. They're not from Boston, but like, there
Mhm.
are people that have been killed by the police in Boston.
Yeah.
Terrence Coleman, Osama Rahim. there are all these names,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like you don't want to wait until this happens to somebody in your family,
Yeah. And it's
because now you're going to be asking people to do the same thing that you didn't want to do.
yeah.
The
And we
same.
need locally. Yeah. So that's why I'm trying to raise the awareness and do whatever I can. And like you said, if there is no justice, whether and I have full confidence. You guys have so much evidence. There's no way this is a foolproof case. But if for any reason there was not justice, we will be right back out in the streets, right? Living
I
out
hope
right.
this is just, again, and like I know I was all over the place with describing what happened, but like that press release, like word for word, it explains exactly what happened before, during, and after my situation. And the
Yeah.
fact that these
Make sure.
charges are not dropped yet, it's just like, wow,
From the press release to the images to the videos to all of
wow.
the evidence. I'm gonna make sure that
Petitions, all kind
petition.
of stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure that I spread that with my audience. Make sure that I post it with anything that I put up regarding this interview because I need everyone to see all of it come together because then they'll be able to see like, wow, this is a joke. But the work that you do is very real and is not to be joked with. And once again, I appreciate you for taking the time to talk with me tonight. This is like very deep and important to me. It's just the beginning of the work that I want to do and the contribution that I can make, as little as it is, to like this revolution, in my own little platform kind of way. But
There's no such thing as a small contribution,
yeah,
because the moment you put your time and energy into something that doesn't directly affect you, and you don't get any like direct, I guess, gain from it like immediately, that's important.
right. That is important to
Do
me.
you
I
know how many people? You know how many people who, just because they have like compromised immune systems, or like they have children, or like whatever the case may be, live with older family members, whatever the case might be, they can't come outside, they can't protest, they can't be at these mutual aid actions because there's so many people around. But
Mm,
like they round up resources, they
mhm.
help make things happen. Like
Yep.
possibilities are endless if you just use your mind and your will. You can Anything is possible.